Hey guys, Coach Ed Haynes here from Coastal Fitness Performance Training to bring you our tips and strategies for workout 17.3. As we've always started, let's begin with initial thoughts. Not a dumbbell. Good gag from Castro there picking it up. I thought that was quite funny. Finally, a barbell. I know a lot of people have been posting on social media that have been craving for the barbell. And here's your chance to shine. It's not exactly an easy movement nor an easy workout, so I think it's going to be fairly humbling for a lot of people. Something to note on the elite guys who went, Fraser, Panchik and Sega. Panchik and Fraser just made that look stupidly easy. It just looked effortless the whole time. During that time to finish the whole thing is just ridiculous. So for those of you who are elite, who are looking to get to the heavier barbells, Cole Sager is a much more accurate representation of what it's actually going to be like. A lot of the time he was sneaking in fairly close to a time cap, and he was very accurate the whole way through. Two pulling movements, it's a couplet. We have a chest to bar or a jumping pull-up and a squat snatch. Understand that pulling movement on the bar is going to fatigue your pull and the snatch as well as your stability overhead. As I said, those guys made it look like it wasn't an issue at all, but it definitely will be because the lats play a very big role in being able to secure heavy loads over your head. Your target weight in terms of where you want to get to should be a weight in the snatch that you know you can definitely hit. A lot of people have been building their strategies around what they would like to hit, and that weight is in fact over their 1 rep max. Just to remember that this is by no means an ideal situation to be hitting something you never hit before. So really target something you know you can definitely hit. Focus on that weight, and when and if you get through that, then it's just a new challenge that you can address when you get there. Your tie break. This is the last section, the time of the last section you completed. A lot of people are going to get bottlenecked in this workout by one of the time caps, probably the 8 minutes for most people watching this video. So it is important that if you're getting close, that you do push there, because that will be your separator on the leaderboard. RX versus scaled. Really, we're going to say if you can do a chest to bar pull-up, and if you can snatch that first weight in the RX division, then we'd like you to do the RX workout. It's still going to be 8 minutes to working out. If you cannot perform a chest to bar in any circumstance, and that weight is just too heavy for you to snatch, then of course we'd like you to do the scaled division. For those people who can't perform an overhead squat or a squat snatch because of movement limitations, we still want you to come and do the workout with us. We're going to scale things up a little bit to make sure you guys get a great workout in. Limitations, fairly obvious. Firstly, chest to bar. We're going to have fatigue in biceps, lats, and grip. Potentially midline as well. Really depends how far you get in this workout. If you were doing the scale division, you're doing jumping pull-ups, then it is going to bring the legs into it, and it's actually going to feel fairly metabolic as well. The snatch, obviously there's a lot of pulling from the floor, so the back is going to be a factor to consider. Obviously leg strength and standing up, and the shoulders. As to how much your pull gets fatigued is just down to basically your pulling endurance and how much those chest to bars affect you. Coordination when snatching heavy loads under fatigue. This is a very different workout to be able to snatch 1 rep at a very heavy load. The aerobic system is going to be taxed. Breathing rate is going to be compromised. There's going to be a lot of blood flow up and down. There's going to be tissues that are going to be pumped. So really it's going to be a big separator as to how well you can execute heavy snatches under fatigue. Pacing, things to think about. Firstly, break your chest to bars early. Panchik did this really well. Cole Sager did it really well. Let's just ignore Matt Fraser. They were breaking that first round of 6s into 2 sets of 3. For a lot of people, you're actually going to find that the chest to bars, even though the volume is fairly low and you'll get through them quickly, will actually jack up breathing rate and metabolic rate more so than the snatches. The idea here is we want to be in the best possible shape when you get to your target weights in the snatches. So if you're a male and you're looking to target those 61 kgs, the 135-pound barbell, then rushing through that first round to give yourself more time probably isn't going to be a good solution, because it's actually just going to put you in a worse position to actually try and hit a heavy weight for you. So nice big breaks on the chest to bars early on. Snatches, I would be going in singles right from the start for pretty much everyone. The only exception being if you're doing the scale division where you have an empty barbell. Obviously, if you're dropping overhead, A, that's not great for our barbells, but B, it's a long way if you have to bend over and pick it up every time. So you're going to have to look to hold on to those bars a little bit more. Going back to your chest to bars really quickly, whether you opt for a butterfly, a gymnastics kip, or to do them strict. I'm just gonna say go with whatever's most comfortable for you. If the butterfly pull-up is something that you're learning at the moment and isn't second nature, you don't really want to be doing it. It's going to drain you a lot more nervous system-wise, it's going to take a lot more concentration, and inefficiency is probably going to make you a little bit more tired. So go with what's more comfortable. The heavier the snatch, the more bracing that's going to occur. So in the lighter rounds, maybe the first and second round, we're going to afford to not have to brace so tight when we're picking that weight up, and we can kind of continually breathe in and out as we're going down, setting up, lifting, finishing, and standing. Whereas as the weight gets heavier, it's going to require you to hold your breath more and brace harder. So bear in mind how that's going to feel as that weight gets heavier, because the more you brace, the more respiration will get jacked up and heart rate will get jacked up afterwards. Couple of reminders, wear a belt if you're planning on going far through this workout, grips for your chest to bars, and you want to think about whether you snatched before we're using your grips or not, or whether you're going to flick them off in between. And if movement and mobility is a restrictor for you, then I'd highly recommend wearing weightlifting shoes. Something to think about in your warm-up. I would start by making sure that you're warming up your snatch position. So that means squat positions and overhead. We're going to hyperlink in the description box a squat routine that you guys can do night before, morning of, and I'd highly recommend just doing it all the time. And generally speaking, if you go onto the YouTube channel, go into the shoulder series, there's loads of mobility exercises to help prep your shoulders for snatching and overhead work. Your warm-up, really you should be looking at spending a bit more time just warming up the opening weight in the snatches. And what I would do is actually go load up the bar with your target weight on whatever it is. Remember, that's your guaranteed weight. And you can either hit one snatch or just go through some pulls, just to get the feeling of having the load in your hands and moving through the range without actually having to hit the snatch. Then from that, we're going to go through something a little bit more specific. So something like 2 to 3 chest to bar pull-ups or jumping pull-ups, walk into your opening weight, hit 2 to 3 singles, rest. We might want to do that under a bit of fatigue, so we're getting the respiratory system, the aerobic system up as well. Something like 30 to 40 second assault bike, so you're breathing a little bit, walk in, hit a few chest to bars, walk to your opening weight in the snatch, hit your snatches. Something to think about, a lot of times when there's a light weight in the bar, we compromise form because we just do whatever we need to do to get it overhead. I would highly recommend making your first set of snatches all the way up to whatever your finishing set of snatches look exactly the same. What you'll do is you'll get a ton of repetition through this workout so that by the time you get to your heavier barbells, that movement pattern is really ingrained. So even if you can just rip a bar with minimal technique and put it over your head at light weights, as soon as you start to get heavier, you're gonna have to revert back to a technically sound snatch. And if you haven't done it out so far, that's gonna be quite hard in a fatigue state to have to switch in between. So make all your snatches look the same. Think about your light loads in the first and second round being your warm-up sets as you go through. Prior to this workout, we talk a lot about excitement and sympathetic versus parasympathetic states. We don't want to be too excited. A lot of people see a heavy snatch and they get really amped up and jacked up. And if it was just by itself, I'd say quite rightly so. But when it's in a fatigue-based setting, all of us are going to be working out for at least 8 minutes here. You want to make sure you're controlling that excitement a bit. Too much excitement and you're going to go flying out the blocks. Heart rate's going to go up very, very quickly. And you're going to start just probably overlooking technique and throwing yourself under heavy weights versus having a little bit of excitement but being fairly calm and relaxed so you can be really accurate with those snatches and control respiration. A few reminders. Make sure you set up your station well. So your pull-up bar and your snatch should be fairly close to each other. Chalk bucket should be there as well if you need to access that. Elite, I'll say this every week, make sure your camera is set up when you're going through your warm-up. Don't go through your entire warm-up and have to waste 3 to 5 minutes trying to find your camera and finding a good place. All those things should be taken care of way ahead of time. If you're going through the barbells and going to get into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, make sure you have your weight changes on cue and have your weights written out so you know exactly what to slide into that bar so there's no confusions there. If you're wearing a belt and time is going to be limited because you're going to be squeezing a time cap, I would say keep it on the whole time. When you're snatching, obviously tighten it up. And when you're in rest or transition periods or doing your chest to bars, loosen the belt. All right, so it's not restricting breathing. With regards to redos, it really depends how far you get through. Elite guys and girls who are getting to the 4th and 5th rounds, it's going to be much harder to redo because it's a fairly taxing heavy workout, both muscularly as well as neurally. But I definitely think in terms of implementing a better strategy with so many moving parts in a workout like this, very similar to 16.2, you can always find ways to move faster. But as I said, if you're going really deep into this workout, it's going to make it harder to redo and feel good still. Guys, hope those tips were helpful. At Coastal Fitness, look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Everyone else around the world, good luck.